Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Space Between. Today I have a special guest. She goes by Mrs. Matthews, not Mistress, Mrs. Matthews, because she does want you to know that she's single and ready to mingle. But today I have Mrs. Matthews as my co-host, Karen, also known as Karen. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me. And yes, I am Ms. Matthews. I'm waiting in line, just like I am for, Justin.
Go ahead and introduce you officially as are we making it official?
Make it official. Do it.
Okay, so Mrs. Matthews, well, she's my fiance.
So I will
tell everyone. She said she proposed to me at Woodlands 2022, right?
Last year, I proposed because I was so overwhelmed with break for it, break free, and shotgun. I was on my knees almost sobbing, and you are the love of my life outside of Dave.
Oh my God,
yes. And I did propose, and you said yes.
I think she proposed to Dave, and since Dave was a little busy at the moment, I was like, yes!
You were sloppy seconds, but I love you so much.
It's not the first, but it is the last time, okay?
Well, I will never be engaged to another woman in my life, but you are it. You are it.
I don't know how many feelings that brings up. And speaking of feelings, I've been doing some deep diving, if that's what you want to call it, when it comes to Dave Matthews. We're kind of in a lull, although it's been such an exciting time recently this week. We've got, what do we not have? We don't have Dave here now, but we do have tour dates. We have plans, and people are making those plans. Karen, what is your plan for 2023 look like? Like, what does it look like in your mind? And then what do you think it's actually going to look like on paper?
In my mind, I'm flying to Arkansas. So I'm doing Arkansas, and this is all driving after I fly. So Arkansas, Nashville, Charleston for my birthday. Woohoo! Wilmington, and my son wants to go with me to Wilmington. And the last time my son went to a Dave show with me, he's going to be 40 in May. Gosh, I can't believe it.
Can you believe it?
No, actually, you're going to make me cry just for that. No, I cannot believe my child's going to be 40 in a few months. But the last time he went to a show with me was when he was 16 years old. It's the first time him and I got high together. We were in Detroit. Yes, it was years ago.
Why do I doubt that?
I know it was that because you know. But so I'm doing Wilmington with, of course, hopefully you and my kid, and then Charleston for my birthday, and then I'm putting on my vision board the Gorge.
Oh my God! If that happens, Karen,
it's on my vision board.
We might be more than just fiancés.
We'll get married.
We might get married at the Gorge.
We might get married at the Gorge. We have to, or you can propose to me. I don't care how it all works.
Maybe that's the next move. I don't know. I really need to plan out this whole second marriage thing with my first, with my actual husband. Now, this is all fun and games. We love to chat with each other. We love each other.
We love each other dearly.
We all love my husband too. And so he's great. And we like to stab jokes at him because is he the biggest Dave Matthews fan in the world?
Nope.
No. And honestly, I love that about him because here's a secret. My first marriage, which was a very long marriage, but it was terrible. He was a Dave Matthews Band fan. So just because you like Dave Matthews Band is not a character reference, okay? That does not mean that you are a good person with good morals and good values. No, there are Dave Matthews Band fans that are trash. That's just great. Of course it is. That's just humanity 101. Not everyone's perfect. Wow. And I think I probably fall along the trash side rather than the treasure side. What do you think, Karen?
For your first husband or your second?
I just mean life in general. Like, am I the treasure fan or the trash
treasure fan? You're the treasure fan. You have the most beautiful relationship with Justin. It just reminds me of my past relationship, but it's the good times are gold.
They are. They are
Yeah.
gold. And so let's talk about some good times in the history. So, again, if you've never listened to this podcast before, I really like to talk about the history of this band. And the reason why I enjoy that is because we have almost 32 years of history when we're talking about this band. So, we have basically unlimited amount of scenarios that we can talk about. And so each week, what we do is we break down a different topic. Now, I do try to stay away from those topics that everyone talks about. Like, I'm probably never going to ask you, what's your favorite song? Or something so basic, because first of all, if you were to ask me that, if you were to ask any true, like, well, I'm not going to say that because that's not true. But if you were to ask me what my favorite song is, I would tell you, I don't know. Now, that's not a really good answer, but that's a pretty, I mean, God, that's an honest answer. I don't know, because I like their work collectively. I like all of it. And there's so many variations in that 32 years. Like, and so that's what we're going to talk about today is the variations that they've done in 32 years. So back in 2003, there was an album that released who is exclusively Dave Matthews. Now, no Dave Matthews Band. We're talking just Dave Matthews. Back in 2023, he released an album with the name of Some Devil. So what we're going to do the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, is we're just going to take time to break down this album, because it is one of the albums that the fans as a whole talk about being just one of those albums that sticks out because it is different. So we're going to dissect the beautiful song, which is number one placed on the album, Dodo. So Karen, when I first told you that we were going to dissect Dodo, tell me what your first thoughts were.
Well, at first I thought, wow, that's such a random song. Now, I haven't seen it live. I did see it live. Now, I've been to quite a few shows, but I did see it live in Europe with Dave and Tim when they were in Ireland. I was moving to Ireland and they played it. And I remember just thinking then, like, oh, wow, that's kind of different. And I haven't heard that never heard it before live. And it was just pretty freaking cool. And then just even like you telling me this is what we're going to do. And so I've just been listening to it. And it's like, oh my gosh, how have I've missed this in my Dave life. I have missed hearing this song, and what I never would have thought to have discussed my feelings on Dodo, a dodo bird, but listening to the song again just opened up so many different levels of what it could mean to me and different to you.
That's right. I think this song, again, my thoughts and these dissecting parts where we're talking about songs or hell, anything on this podcast are all just opinions of me or whoever is speaking, because we have not actually verified any of this information with the band. Now, if you would like us to do so, all I need are a few emails and phone numbers, and I can make that happen, and we'll verify everything. But that's not going to happen.
Well, I think your fiance needs to be there just to make sure you stay within the coloring lines.
Well, here's the deal. He's married. He and I am married. But I need to walk into this meeting the band. First of all, I'm going to have to be super stoned, because if I walk in as like average Renae, well, we know what's going to happen. Average Renae can't talk. I just do some weird hand movements where I'm like gagging.
I've seen that.
The first and only time that I came close to meeting Dave Matthews, which honestly, like, saying that again, I don't want to sound like a stalker, because I am not that. I like to tell people that I'm a historian about a band, and that is what I like to do. So I would be equally as happy meeting Carter as Dave, any of them. I don't care. Do I have a preference or a number order? Hell no. Just give them to me one by one, and then I'll take them all at the same time at the end.
You had your chance.
There we go. Okay. So just a few, I want to do one shout out before I get to my notes. And this is particularly about Dodo. So I listened to it, like Karen said, several times, because while I was familiar with this song, it wasn't a song that was on my playlist that plays a lot enough to where I know like every word. I know all the things. And so as I was listening to it, I want to give a big shout out to the horns in this song, because man, you get towards the end and I swear it sounds like a trombone, but I've gone through the musicians. It's not a trombone. And I'll tell you what it is here in just a little bit. It's like a teaser. But when I heard him slide what sounded like the trombone, I was like, fuck, do you hear those horns? And I know many people, Kelly Allen to be one of those people, that all it takes to have a party is a horn section, and we're good to go. We need that horn section, and that's something that he included even without the Dave Matthews Band. That was something that was important to him musically, and so I love the horns in this song. If you're a horn follower, just like play Dodo, go towards the end, and you can thank me later. How about that? Okay, so Some Devil was the album that released September 23rd of 2003. Now, this was the only studio album by Dave Matthews that was separate from the Dave Matthews Band. This album actually did win a Grammy for the song Gravedigger. So not only is it great in our eyes, but it's actually won awards for this work. This album was recorded in Seattle, which I thought was really cool, because I'm hoping that means he had an easy commute on this extra work that he was doing, because I think putting out an album on top of already being in a band and all the little side hustles that you do, I mean, that's a lot of damn work. So it's nice to think that he could just be in Seattle and record. It says Studio Litho, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's where this was recorded. And it was actually produced by Stephen Harris, who previously worked with DMB on their 2002 album, Busted Stuff. So I thought that was really cool that he did such a good job with Busted Stuff that Dave saw, his talent and was like, whoa, come, I want you to produce my album next. And so I think it's cool, all of the people that are pulled in and out of the band to do all the different jobs. And so, Karen, did you know that this album was produced by the same producer that did Busted Stuff?
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Rich from the Eddie Casino Band out in Las Vegas. We're really excited to get this journey going, celebrating our music, our original music, on all platforms. We just released our first single over Labor Day weekend called Eddie Casino. If you're looking for new music, look out for our next single coming out to Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music. These guys in the band are really excited to get started playing music for you all. If you like Tom Petty, Zach Brown, Jason Mraz, Dave Matthews Band, Rob Thomas, Jimmy Buffett, Pink Floyd, Stapleton, Bare Naked Ladies, Goose, Billy Strings, Sting and the Police, a ton of influences that we bring to the table. Hope you enjoy our music and look forward to seeing you soon live on stage.
No, I honestly had no idea. I never even thought to think about who produced it. I'm more, me, I'm more of the feelings person, and
Absolutely.
you can definitely feel the difference between album and album and album. But no, I never honestly thought. I'm so glad I know that, though.
It's just, these are the little things that interest me. And these little things like this, or even what started me thinking about building a podcast around a band. Would I have enough things to say, even though we have 32 years? Yes, because if you break it down and look at it as if you're reading a history book, damn, there's been a lot of people that have played their parts to help the band. It's about so much more than who you see on stage. It is so much more than just who's on stage. I mean, this is an actual bona fide business, of course. And so the people that produce or direct, or, well, directing is film, I think. So producing in music, people that did, all of the audio, video.
What about the people? I remember back in the day, early day, I used to love to watch when the opening band would come, which I've seen some amazing people opening for Dave. That's a different podcast, but some amazing. And then you have the people that come out and vacuum the carpets and sweep the floor and move this and move that and pull the lights down. That's people go and get drinks and cocktails and whatever and come back. I would sit there because I love to watch these people that are vacuuming Dave's rug in front of his microphone, and it was this little person that would do it, and he was so phenomenal. And just watching that aspect of it, and it's like I would in my head be like, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's
Or
all,
taking
because it
care
takes
of
everyone.
our boys, because it's all the little people, no pun intended, but all the other people that are cleaning up and sweeping and mopping and getting the stage ready that you really don't even think about. But thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Doing
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
I love Miss Matthews. And I don't want to take us a lot of time on this because we do have so much information to talk about. But every time you talk about how thankful you are for everyone that it takes for the Dave Matthews Band, it reminds me of something that you said you've done yearly for the warehouse. Tell us about that, because I just find that so interesting.
Okay, this is embarrassing, but I like to, and I don't do it every year. I do it about every couple, but I do write a letter at the end of the tour season, and I thank them for all of their hard work. And 2020 was a really big year when they first, did their opening tour in Raleigh, and how amazing it was. And then they changed the dates, and I wrote them this letter, just so grateful that I am, and that we all are, for all the hard work you put into it, because they're changing tickets and tour dates and getting phone calls. And you could read on all the posts, all the nasty messages coming in, and how they thwarted all of that and just buckled down and did their job and made sure that we were all happy and that the band was happy. And what a phenomenal, they did a phenomenal job after COVID, after the shutdown, of making sure that we had what we wanted in that opening tour. And I could not imagine being on that side and having to deal with all of the demands that we are all entitled to in our minds. And so I write letters of emails of encouragement and thank you. And the nice thing is that they always write a nice little message back to me, so I know that I'm heard, and I know that we are heard, because I'm not the only one who feels that way, but I put it out there to them, because without them, they are the other little people that are behind the scenes that we just all take for granted, but they are real people that do a job, and they work hard for this band. As much as we spend our money and do our thing, they are behind this. They're like the puppet masters. And I'm so grateful. They are. So I write letters like a dork. I write letters and just tell them how grateful and thankful we are.
Well, I love that.
Thank you.
I love
Thank
that.
you for bringing
that. I love that about you. I love your heart. And I think that speaks volumes of how much you really do love the band. It's not just a surface love. Like it goes all the way down to the heart. And so I love that. I love that. So here is what I did first to break down Dodo. So I really wanted to see, okay, if we don't have the Dave Matthews Band, who do we have? We have Dave. We know that he can play a couple of instruments, but clearly he can't be his own band. Now, I have seen like a one-man band show, but I don't think that's what he was going for, was like a circus act. What he did was completely different. He brought in musicians that he had worked with in the past or presently or knew about, and he formed like his own thing. Like this is his own vibe with the, his different people, one of the same people, which I found very, very interesting. But let's go over who was it that made up the sounds of Dodo. We did hear, if you listen right in the beginning, right as the song starts, you almost hear like a waterfall sound. Now, those are like chimes of some sort, like the little chimes that percussion does. And so, of course, that caught my ear right away. It's like, well, who do we have if we do not have Carter? Who is stepping up to do the drums for Dave Matthews? Because that's something that, like, when Dave Matthews does music, the drumming is like one of the things we listen for, because it's just been done so well for so long. And so when I looked it up, I broke it all down. So the drums / percussion was done by someone called Brandy Blade. Now, I believe that is a man, because when I originally looked it up, it was like Brandy Blade Jr. or something like that. And so I don't know a lot about Brandy Blade, but that's who was responsible for the drums and the percussion during Dodo. Now, the lyrics were solely written by Dave Matthews. And I love that because he loves the song, but I found it just, a little something different, that when they wrote all this out, or when you Google like who wrote the lyrics, it didn't say Dave Matthews. Of course, it says David John Matthews. That's what it says. And so I like that they gave him the full shout out, David John Matthews. It's like his mom was calling out to him. The guitar for Dodo is Dave Matthews, but it's also Tim Reynolds. And I don't know why that was surprising, but if I think back to 2003, that was before Tim was I believe before he was a permanent part of the band. And so he just did a lot of highlighting in and out in the concert. And so he was part of this album as well. Now the guitar, especially the intro part, Trey Anastasio, how do you say it? From Fish, Trey Anastasio.
I would say Anastasio. It sounds like very fancy and fishish.
I like saying it. Yeah, very Fish. So Trey is in this, and we've talked about Trey a couple times in this podcast. And so we're familiar with his work, and then even the ties of him, or the friendship that him and Dave Matthews have, and the hard times that Dave has helped Trey get through. Now the horns, again, I repeat it again, but the horns were mostly done by a group. It was a band called the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. Now I had never heard of them before. And so I had to go, well, who is this? So I broke it down even further. The baritone sax is a guy named Roger Lewis. He's a jazz musician that also plays in the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. That's a hard one. Dirty Dozen Brass Band. Now the bass guitar, Tony Hall from Dumpster Funk. I found that very interesting because we know that Dave and the band love Dumpster Funk because they have them come in to do openers at Gorge or wherever. So I found that cool that they tied them together. The trombone. Oh, there was a trombone. I thought I was going crazy when I said, I think there's a trombone. No, I did hear that correctly. The trombone is played by Sammy Williams, and he's actually in a band called Big Sam's Funky Nation. And that's a band out of New Orleans. I had never heard of them either, but that makes so much sense now that I'm saying out loud, because when I hear a trombone, you just have that, or at least for me, I have that automatic like New Orleans jazz sound. Like that's what comes to my head when I hear a nice slide of the trombone. And so it makes total sense that Sammy, the trombone player, came from New Orleans. Now, the keyboard. So it says it was programmed by Stephen Harris. Now, he's an engineer that's worked for several bands. Yes, Dave Matthews Band, but also U2, Natalie Imbruglia, and a lot of big bands. So he actually did the keyboard programming for this particular song. And then we've got tenor sax, who was also in the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. It was Kevin Harris. Now here's the last one. And I actually had to look up exactly what this instrument was. Now I hope that I'm not completely butchering it, but I believe it's called a flugelhorn. I did have to look that up because even though I have a little bit of knowledge about band instruments and such like that, I did not know exactly what a flugelhorn was. And I asked Karen and she was not 100%
Well,
sure.
I'm not 100%, but I'll just call Jeff and ask him. He'll let me know.
Yes, what's up?
I lived in Nashville. He lives in Nashville.
Obviously,
we're old friends. I'll just call
old
him.
friends. Of course. Well, let me know what he says, and then tell him I would love to interview him for my podcast.
I'll ask. I'll reach out.
Nobody knows who the fuck I am. But hey, that's an even more reason to be like, will you be on my podcast? But of course,
put it out there. Really you got to put it out on your vision board.
So the only one that I've sent it to, and I hope I say it right, Rayab, is that right? The vocal coach for Dave.
Oh, Rob.
Oh my God, I completely.
Rob.
Is
RAAB. That's
yep.
Yes, and he was also vocal coach, which I just found out for Justin Timberlake.
No way. Well,
I just saw it only because it was Justin. Now I'm not smarty pants, but only because it was Justin Timberlake's birthday, who we love. And Rob had posted, "Hey, it's my boy's birthday, yada yada yada." I was singing backups, and I became his vocal coach. And I'm just like, I want to meet both of your friends. I really need to meet both of your friends. I'm Justin and Dave, so please. Well, I've already met Dave, but I'm just saying. But yeah, no, Justin. Yeah, he was his vocal coach. Yeah, Rob.
So Rob, sorry I butchered your name if you listen to this, Rob. But you replied, and I mean, obviously, I was just throwing it out there, seeing if it would
But at
happen.
least he replied. That's exciting. He
Yes,
replied to me.
he did.
Oh, yeah, it's exciting.
You never know. Okay, so a flugelhorn is a brass instrument that resembles kind of like a trumpet or a cornet. So we all know what that is. And that is what Ephraim Towns, who was also from the Dirty Dozen Brass Band, played in Dodo. So what the hell is a dodo, Karen? Tell me what you know. What even is a dodo bird?
Well,
Actually,
I do know.
let's not say bird because it's just called dodo.
It's just dodo. And I do know that dodo is, and I knew this even before you and I had discussed it previously, but it is an extinct bird. From what you told me, 1615?
Yeah, so it says
1615
1690.
extent. But everyone, and I know this for a fact, I remember when I was a kid, now I'm going to be 57 this year, la, la, la. So I remember as a kid, we used to call, oh my God, you're such a dodo bird. We would call my friend, oh my God, you're such a dodo bird, because it meant that you were stupid, which is interesting to me. And then hearing the song, and it brings, it's a really cool difference out of the concept of it, because back then we don't know what it is. But yes, I never realized the dodo bird was extinct for that long. I'm thinking, 1930.
Me too. I'm like thinking, okay, this is bound to have been in the 1900s, even though my kids tell me that anyone born in the 1900s is ancient. And I'm like, shut up.
We don't like him. We don't like him.
Get out of here. Okay, so dodo bird, yes. I just did a simple Google, like literally this is the information from Google, and it says an extinct flightless bird. I'm like, oh, good to know. Okay, so last sight, around 1690 is what it said. Around in the Indian island of Mauritius. I'm not exactly for sure. Oh, says it's 500 miles off the coast of Madagascar. So there you go. That's where the dodo bird was and last seen approximately, according to history, right? According to history. So looking up a definition of what is a dodo bird, other than exactly what it is, it says it's equated with being stupid. So Karen, you are exactly right. And it would be most accurately used to describe somebody who was stubbornly persistent with the same stupid behavior. Now, don't I know a list of 100 people I could say right now, with mine being the very first one of being a dodo bird.
Sweetie, that's my dating. That's my dating life. My dating life the past 12 years. You just described it right there.
Stubbornly persist with the same stupid behavior.
That's me. That's me. My hands up.
I didn't know this was going to be therapy.
This is it. That's me. My past dating life for the same person for 10 years.
Go.
That's me. That's me. Thank you. Yes. Hands up.
The consequences that the behavior would influence in an intelligent person, they would actually change their ways. Oh, so you're saying a smart person wouldn't make those choices based on the consequences, but a dodo bird would still just stupidly make the same mistakes as if it had never bit them once in the ass. Like, oh, hello, boom, dead again.
Again, that's my 10 years with my ex-boyfriend, because we would constantly break up for things and then get back together because, oh my God, I'm so in love. And then, oh my God, look at what he did. And then, oh my God, yes, I was stupid. I love him. We're still good friends. Don't get me wrong. Anyone out there, we are still really good friends. We've lived, we learned, we moved on.
That's right. And that's how we attain wisdom, is through life experiences, whether they be good or bad. We are all full of wisdom now. So
I'm too old for this. I'm too old
for wisdom.
I'm too old for all of it. I can't anymore. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. So if anyone, let me put it this way, if anyone is single out there who is between 55 and 65, has good health insurance, and like Dave Matthews, I'm your girl. I will be your ride or die, because I'm really just looking for someone to just like die with at this point in my life. Who has good health insurance?
Like, you have to have some kind of sexual chemistry, right? Like that is important.
You and I, we have great.
You gotta stop it. Everybody in this whole world is gonna think it's real.
No, it's not real. It's really not.
I love you.
I love you more than life. I just love you so much, Renae.
Okay. So back to Dodo. I did not want to go through all of the words because it's a lengthy song. I mean, actually, it's fairly short. It has a lot of repetitive words. And I think that repetition is on purpose, because I think he's speaking with like a questioning almost as if this song is a question to you, whoever the listener is. But he calls us out in this song, like, did you? And I mean, once you read through the lyrics and you think, what in the hell is he trying to say? And then you've watched him perform it, you've listened to him also speak about it, which if you want to, again, YouTube has several great videos, but there's one in particular that he was live for some kind of endangered species cause. And it was really good because he sang Dodo. And then he talked about why that song was important to him. And so what I did, instead of pulling all of the lyrics and going over them one by one, is I pulled the lyrics, but then I also pulled someone's interpretation of what this song or what these lines might have been. And then we'll insert ours as well. It's always good to have a couple of opinions, and hey, they might all dead be wrong. And that's okay, because again, we cannot verify this information because we're waiting to join the club and we haven't been invited yet. So until we get invited, here we are. We're just interpreting lyrics that I want to go through. And again, these are someone else's interpretation of this song. And then Karen and I will tell you, of course, we'll tell you our thoughts as well, because we are very outspoken women, if you did not know that already. So the lyrics, okay, so this is what one, I guess, listeners' views were. So it says, the lyrics indicate what I believe to reflect Dave's critical thinking style, which we know if you've done enough looking into his words, he definitely has a critical thinking style. He thinks deep. Most of his songs are not surface level. You kind of have to know what it's about. There's usually some kind of lesson. Now, hey, it might be, the fact that I'm going to go down on you, and that was the lesson, but there's also a lesson.
Amen.
Things are not always
Preach. Preach.
You know what the lesson is going to be, but let's just be for real. Sex is also a topic you should be educated about. So don't feel weird talking about it. It's like this 3-letter word that everyone's like, oh my God, did you actually speak that word?
I will
you and I all got here.
I'm going to stay quiet on this topic so you can post it.
Okay. Yeah.
But call me later. Call me later.
I'll tell you later. We'll talk after this. Okay. So let's just go over the first bit of Dodo. If we haven't lost you already, thank you for continuing to listen through. We're about to get to the good stuff, right to the meat of it. And then we're going to let you go and you're going to sleep like a baby. Okay. Once upon a time, when the world was just a pancake, fears would arise that if you went too far, you'd fall. But with the passage of time, it all became more of a ball. We're as sure of that as we all once were when the world was flat. Okay, so that's the opening of the song. Now, here is what I thought was interesting. As we were all convinced that the earth used to be flat, right? Because everyone did believe at one time that was what we had, the maps that showed it, because we didn't have the technology that we do now to know what we have now, right? Like we didn't have all the stuff we have now. And so it says, we used to all be so very convinced that the earth was flat. And now we're convinced that it's very round. Could it be square? Could it be cylinder? Now, science, we know that it's round because we've seen a picture of it, but he's just trying to illustrate, like, you said that the earth was this, now it's this, but could it be this? Like, who are we believing here? And then it says, so I wonder this, as life billows smoke inside my head, this little game where nothing is sure. Oh, why would you play by the rules? Who did? You did. You. Who did? You did. You. Now, as he learns more, the more he begins to find questions in the answers he's uncovered. Smoke in the head? Why would anything keep straight when you could be anything else? Why would you play by the rules? I mean, we could pick apart this song so far because the
all
questions,
day.
like the statements that are being made in this song are like, well, damn, I'm not for sure now. Wait,
well,
what?
I sit there. I think about the lyric, when we thought the world was flat, and then we all know that it's round. I sit there and I hear that now, and it makes me think about, well, one person thought it was flat, another person thinks it's round. They were debating back then over it anyways, and you could actually probably be, murdered back then by your different beliefs. And I just think it's really just a sign of just don't, worry about what other people think. You just need to make a difference in your own life and what you think. And you just need to trust in yourself, believe in what you believe, and stand up for what you believe and not worry about what someone else believes.
Exactly. I think that, and I think, man, couldn't life be just a lot easier if we were all just happy with ourselves instead of worrying about, well, do they like what I do? Stop giving a fuck.
But it's so different with social media. Back then, they didn't have
God,
social media. So it wasn't as big as it is now. But nowadays, I sit here and look at society, and I look at these teenage girls, and I look at how they look at things online and how they think, oh, this is how I should think and how I should believe. And I see these models and how skinny and beautiful and pretty and yada, yada. And yet I'm not that way. So I'm not worthy to believe this. And it's just different in times.
It is. I mean, every decade, every period, every whatever has had its challenges, and they've all been big challenges for the times that it happened in. Of course, our challenges seem so much harder, and maybe they are, but they seem different because they are different. They're new. They are not what we had when we grew up. And what is happening right now will not be the same when our children's children are having children. So life is just, it's a change all of the time. So we have to embrace change, but also just believe in what you believe in, and trust in what you have always believed in. And I think that's kind of what it's saying is, would you believe this if this is what someone told you, or would you believe this if this is what someone told you? But I think a lot of the times we do that. Well, I saw it on the internet. Well, if it's on the internet, it must be true, right? Well, exactly. I saw it with Tracy. Yeah. Yes, I saw that.
But then you also look at Dave's songs, like from Dodo, which he wrote back when, very early on, and you look at the songs that could have, my version could have sprung from that. Songs, that talk about changing your life and what we believed and what we didn't believe, and what we see and what we don't see. He has many songs that grow from that Dodo song of stand up for yourself and don't believe what anyone tells you to believe. You have to believe in yourself songs.
Right. I love that because really people need to across the board. I believe that people need to invest a little more time in themselves. I mean, because that's where happiness can come from, is if you're not happy with yourself, are you going to be happy with anyone else? And then just realizing like mental health does play a game, and you do have to be happy with yourself, or at least reach some kind of happiness with yourself. And so,
I don't know. It was a great line, because I'm sitting here myself thinking about the lyrics of believe in yourself. What you are is another perfect song that I absolutely love. And it's like, don't believe that I'm your God. You need to believe in yourself. Don't believe me. Believe in yourself and what you believe. And that's just like a perfect gateway drug, I should say, from Dodo to believing what you believe and fighting for your belief and not worrying about what someone is telling you to believe.
Right.
And that's exactly how I think about Dodo when I really revisit the song and pay attention to the lyrics and really pontificate on it, is I have to really just believe what I believe, and I'm not just some stupid bird and follower that I should be.
Right.
And
What's up, everybody? This is David with the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. We're a nationally touring tribute to DMB, playing shows all over the country and beyond. Our goal is to bring you back to the classic sound that you fell in love with in the 90s and the 2000s, featuring a violin, saxophone, and maybe some keyboards sprinkled in as well. You can find out information about all of our tours and shows by visiting thedmtb.com. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram and other socials by searching the Dave Matthews Tribute Band or the DMTB. Hope to see you on the road and enjoy the Space Between podcasts.
went a step further and I did go to YouTube and looked for Dodo. And of course, like I said earlier, the one I found was released live from his home in Seattle, December of 2020. So it was pandemic, we're all locked up. This is the song that he sang. And he was even amazed that he could get through it because it's not a song that he traditionally does that often. And so he was like, wow, I didn't know if I was going to get through that. It had been a while since I'd sang that song. And then he talked about this particular line right here. When was it killed? The very last dodo bird. And was she aware? She was the very last one. And he, after he got through singing that song, he pointed that out and he said, those two lines right there are everything in this song. Did she know she was the last? Did she even know? Did she even have any fear? Like, what was going on in this bird's? And then why were the people trying to kill this dodo bird? Like, what value did it hold? And why is it extinct? I mean, obviously human nature is why it's extinct, but
I wrote the same verse down, you know that I did, and we had not even spoke about that verse, but when we spoke earlier before the show, you're like, oh, I have this verse, and I'm like, you said it, and I'm like, here's my paper, I wrote it down. For me, I think about that, and I think about blindly just going through life not aware. Like, am I wasting my time being oblivious to what's going on around me? Of course, a dodo bird's stupid. So am I wasting my time just being oblivious? Am I losing the opportunity to teach my child or my grandson? Am I losing the opportunity to learn from my child or my grandson because I'm just so stupid and I'm just all about this is me. Am I just blindly just going through life to where I'm going to become extinct? I will die one day.
and what kind of legacy do you pass down?
Hopefully it's not going to be for like 30 more years, but what kind of legacy am I leaving my child? My son who's about to turn 40, what legacy would I leave him if I died today? What legacy am I going to leave my grandson? Or am I just the last one and I just die tomorrow and just not even pay attention or realize or even care about? That's the thing. Do I not care about what I'm going to leave, my carbon footprint? One of my favorite lines, and this was Central Park. I want to say it was Two-Step, and I actually have this tattooed on my foot because of the song. And it was Dave when he was preaching about the fire department and the police and thanking them for the Central Park tour and keeping them safe. And then he's talking about leave nothing but your footprint. And I have that tattooed on one of my feet because it just means so much. And that's how I think, like, revisiting this song. That's what I think about is leave nothing but your footprint. Don't leave the garbage and the trash around you. Leave something that they will see and they will use and they will follow, and something that is going to be beneficial and make their life better in the future if I die today.
Well, I think you nailed it on the head, actually, is what you just did, because what I didn't say about the video I watched on YouTube was also after Dave talked about those lines, and he may have said this before the song started, but he made it a point to say he thinks often about what kind of legacy he's leaving for not just his children, but his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. What am I leaving for them? What are they going to know that I helped do for them? And I know that is something that attracts me first to the band, is their servanthood of making sure that, like, we can use this platform that we have, the Dave Matthews Band, and then of course all our individual fame as well. We can use that as a platform to support subjects that really are important for people to know. And a lot of these topics, I'll be completely honest. Yes, I've heard about all of this. Now, who I've heard it from the most is Dave Matthews, because I listen to him a lot. But look what happened. I've now got a musician that's preaching to me about conservation and the world and what I should be doing. So he is using his platform as a musician in a band to do the greater good, right? That's what is so fabulous about these people and this band. And yes, there are lots of bands that do all of that, but this band has just been so just so perfectly placed to help make people aware. And I think that's one of the biggest jobs, is not because you have to make people aware of a problem before you can fix the problem, right? Or you can at least be doing it at the same time. And so I love how he uses his platform to speak about problems that not just that he's facing, but that we are all facing and our grandchildren are facing. They're not even here yet. Well,
Mine is. Mine's here. And the one thing that my grandson has taught me, and this song reminds me of, is not taking life for granted. I cannot take for granted that you are going to set up the world for my grandson to succeed. That if we all pull together and do our part, if I do my part to make sure that my grandson has a life that he succeeds in, and you do your part to make sure the future has a life to succeed, and you do you part, and you do you part, and we do, and we do, and we do, and who do, and who do, and who do, we all can set up the future for all of our grandchildren and all of our children and all of our great grandchildren. We all, you do, we do, will set it up so that they all have a better future. But I by myself cannot do that. Renae, you by yourself can't do it, but we all need to be the who do and the we do that does it.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, Dodo, you're going to teach us so many things. I love this song. So a few more notes that I wrote down. Just again, a lot of the times when I'm coming up with these topics, like how the hell did I get to Dodo? Honestly, how I got to this song for this week's podcast was, does anybody else like correlate their brain to be kind of like a jukebox, and like at random times during the day, just a random song will go off, and it could be from your childhood, it could be from an hour ago, or it could be a song that you're like, I don't even know that song, but here it is going off in my head. Well, that happens very often to me. And so one day it was Dodo, and I was like, I don't think I've heard this recently, so let me revisit it. And listening to it and breaking down the lyrics and reading what people have wrote about this song, and then of course listening to Dave speak about this song, just kind of made me have a new appreciation for this song. And I know that this song has a lot of fans that just love the song. And so a couple of things that I wrote down. So we did talk about dodos are generally viewed as being dumb. I love this phrase. Dave is drawing a parallel to human ignorance. That's some deep shit, isn't it? But I like that because that sounds about right. Like, yeah, okay, I can see that. Yes, clearly that's what he's doing, is drawing a parallel.
Dave. You look at his other songs, that he does that in. Let's look at Big Eyed Fish, when you talk about the fish being in the sea and the monkey up in the fucking tree, and he does draw that parallel. Sorry, it's my new password for everything, everyone, just so you know, because I got blocked out of 30 passwords, and that was my last one that went. But, I love that. Sorry, Dodo does it. That's what we've been talking about. You just look at his other songs that he talks about, just the same topic. Absolutely. I can go on and on.
So it says in my last little spot here, it says, we're so assured in knowing that our being, how do we know what this is or what we are? Oof, those are deep, aren't they?
Those are deep, but it's different for every person, because what's different in knowing for me after my life experiences, which have not been pleasant, and have been through the suicide of someone in your life, who have been through just recently the death of your grandfather, and someone else's life that may have lost a mother, and every life choice and every lyric and every song is something different for everyone. But we have to just, as Dave says, make the best of what's around, and we need to just delve in and try and it's so hard to psychoanalyze everything, one lyric that fits all, because it's not. And that's what's so great about Dave, is it is
Right.
not one lyric fits all. It is, you
No.
and I can listen to one song, and you and I have done that where you talk about it on the drive and you're like, well, this is what I think. Well, this is what I feel. And it's so different for everyone. And that's what's so amazing, because in my mind, it is all healing for everyone.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band is all healing for everyone. It is not one size fits everyone. It is everything feels and makes everyone full and makes everyone understand and heals everyone in a different way that works for them, whether we understand it all or not.
You're exactly right. And so
I know.
thank you for thank you so much
I know.
for helping me break down the song Dodo. So I love this
welcome.
album. Again, the album is Some Devil. It was released in 2003 by David John Matthews, as it says on the little report sheet there. David John. Wait, is that right? John? Is it
Well,
John?
no, ma'am. It is John. But
John, it
you
is
know,
John.
his family all calls him David. So, like when I'm going to break away and you can edit it. But when I met Dave Matthews in 2008 or 2007 tailgating in Raleigh, Durham, he was riding a bike with his security and we yelled David, because that's what he goes by, David. And he instantly turned around and came back and blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get into it, but I have lots of pictures. But it was David because that's what, from what I hear, his family calls him. His friends call him. It's David. He's just Dave Matthews on the stage. Now, if
Gotcha.
100 of you can correct that, and that's fine, I'm cool with that. But that worked for me in 2007 when I yelled David because he stopped and turned
Oh.
around.
Well, I'll remember that for the Woodlands.
No, you
David!
won't.
I know I won't. I'll be totally out of
No,
my
you
mind.
won't.
Just be like,
Because
thrilled to be there. Like,
you're going to be like calling me like, oh my God, I almost met him. I'm like, did you say David? And you're like,
you know
no,
what?
I just had my
let's
arm out.
speak
Saying,
it.
"Where?
Let's speak it into existence. Maybe
I'm going to
you'll
speak it
be at the
into
Woodlands. I don't know.
existence. No, we're going to speak it into existence for
Arkansas.
for show. Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Woo,
So,
big sweet.
okay, Karen can act. So I am from Arkansas. That is where I live. The venue that he's playing in is about 5 to 7 minutes from my house. I mean, it's just, it's a dream come true. Honestly, it's like, oh, it's in my backyard. I'm so excited. Last time he was in Arkansas was 2021. I actually had several friends come in and stay with me. And Karen was one of those people. Tell me, give everybody the real about Arkansas if you're not from Arkansas.
I'm not from Arkansas. I never thought I would be from Arkansas. I never thought I would ever say woo pig suey. And I used to, seriously. I now have bought a shirt that says woo pig suey. I cannot wait to vacation in Arkansas. It's, especially if you're with Renae, it's beautiful. I think of Arkansas as just a bunch of, dilapidated homes on a brick mountain somewhere. It is beautiful and gorgeous and so friendly. And if I didn't have my son and my grandson that lives 2 hours from me, and my daughter-in-law, I must say that because she'll be butthurt. I love you too. I love Arkansas. It's just so beautiful and there's so much to do and so much to see. And I have perfected the woo pig suey, which again is like the 5th time in my life I've ever said it.
I mean,
but Arkansas is amazing. When you know, you know. When you know.
So I will make the leap of faith to say, I'm from Texas. And while I've always been super proud of that, and I still am, I was there until I was 22, I think, 22, 23, something like that. Moved to Arkansas because my family retired here. Never thought I would love Arkansas because all I knew about Arkansas was what I had been to, which was Southern Arkansas. So, or if you've ever been through Little Rock or on your way to Memphis, that's what people know of Arkansas is pretty much from Little Rock down. What you don't know about is the Little Rock up. It's a completely different state almost. It's beautiful. It's in the Ozarks, the mountains, of course. If you watched anything on Netflix called Ozark, that is what it looks like here. I think that gives you a good representation of what it looks like here and kind of our culture. We're very outdoorsy. Mountain biking is world famous here. And my favorite reason to be here is that Dave Matthews has deemed it worthy for him to and his band to play here. Because woo pig suey, right? Woo
Right,
fucking
woo
pig
pig
suey.
suey. And I want a side note. I want a side note, and I don't want you to edit this out.
Oh,
So in the
shit, the
picture
pressure.
in the picture of all of us, and we're on the rail for Arkansas last year, and you see some girl in a hoodie that's looking disgruntled in a way. That was me. And it was pouring down rain, and I had no idea the picture was being taken at that time. So I'm looking grumpy, but I was so happy. I just wanted to know that I was really just so happy in that picture that I had not known that it was being taken at that time. Thank you. I just want that out there.
She looks so like spoiled.
I was
Dave Matthews on the
I
rail
was so
in the pit,
salty.
of
Like,
course.
why am I
And
here?
she's
I
like,
thought this.
another selfie from Dave Matthews. I'm not even going to smile. And there she is. And, it was like one of those selfies that the band themselves post on their social media. And there she is, front and center. And I just want any of you listeners to Google it. Rogers, Arkansas 2021. Just any of the selfies that the band posted will be right in front because we were just
salty.
right in front.
Look for the girl
She has
with
her
the hoodie.
hands folded like she'd been there for 48 hours and is done with it,
It's pouring. I was supposed to meet some random man that I had hooked up with at a bar the night before. And then we get to the show and it's like, I hope to God he doesn't call me because I don't have time for this shit right now. I'm on the rail. I do not have time for this random person to text me that he's here at the show. So I just ignored my phone, put it in my pocket because I don't really care. I'm on the rail. It's your loss. You were late. I don't really care. It's your business. Don't contact me again. If you are going to be late for a rail spot at Dave Matthews Band, we cannot date. So I ignored my phone, turned it off, put it in my pocket, and I'm in there. But yes, that last picture, the last pictures, my hoodie was on, and I'm so salty because I was so happy.
It was just a really good night. It was a really good night. And so I always say,
amazing.
Again, if Arkansas is not on your list, check into it. Yes, it's a Tuesday night, but however, this year it's third in the tour list. So we go Woodlands, Dallas, Rogers, which if you don't know anything about that geographically, Rogers is 5 hours north of Dallas. So you're going straight up through Oklahoma. And then boom, you're right into Arkansas because we live like literally on the corner of Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri. We're just like right in that little nook there in the mountains.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
5 hours.
Stunningly beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You will have so much fun if you come to Woo Pig Suey Town.
Yeah, because
I'm not kidding you. I have
a night zero.
I have a shirt that says Woo Pig Suey, and never in my life it's like, ooh, Arkansas, who? Those Razorbacks, what is that?
So we definitely have more time to push you, but I know that Karen just bought her airfare to Arkansas. So if you're looking to fly in, the airport that you're going to want to fly into, unless you're Southwest, the closest airport terminal is Tulsa, but that's only an hour from us. So it's not
I didn't fly into
commute.
that. Should I have flown into Tulsa?
Not.
I flew into Fayetteville. Okay, don't scare me.
So our airport code is XNA, which stands for Northwest Arkansas Airport. It is just a national airport. It's not international, but you said, she thankfully had someone that beautifully purchased her airfare ticket, but it wasn't terrible one way. It was not terrible. So look into flying into XNA.
I'll say it. I was flown in from Charlotte. Now I live in Myrtle Beach, so I have a friend that lives outside of Charlotte. So I always fly from Charlotte. So I flew from Charlotte to XNA for $275. Thankful for a very generous patron who I love so much. And it's not UNA. I have more people than you that love me.
More friends than
I'm
me.
so excited to come. I want to come right now and just spend the next 3 months at your house.
That's what she said.
That's what we both said with him. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Okay, so last bit, and then I promise you're going to be done with episode. This is episode 11. Karen, you're on the 1-1. Thank you so much for being part of this podcast. We've got some big things coming up, some big announcements about our podcast. We're so excited for the following that we've been able to get. Just Dave Matthews Band fans are the best fans. Thank you for the support for me chasing my dreams. I want to talk about this band for the rest of my life as a profession. So here I go, chasing my dreams, and you are helping this mama support herself by talking about the Dave Matthews Band, which is like my first love outside of my family. So thank you for listening to this. Share it with a friend. And if you're on social media, which, most people are, right? I think you can find me just about anywhere. Funny story, I did get kicked off Facebook back in December. I don't even know why. I don't even care. But I'm back, and we have a group. It's not a page. It's called The Space Between, and that is the page that you'll need to go to keep up with just Dave Matthews related things. We don't push a lot of the podcast on that page because that's specifically just for fan information and you can share. But if you want to know about this podcast particularly, there's 2 ways that you can follow. Instagram being number 1, the space between _pod is our handle. And then on the beautiful TikTok, you can find me as Kiss on the Lips Meyer on TikTok. We are trying that out. We're a little too old to be joining the TikTok, but here we go, doing all kinds of random shit that our mothers will be proud of one day. So keep, help support me, listen to me, share me with other friends. If you have some connections or if you have something you want to talk about on this podcast, I would love to talk with you. There's a couple ways you can message me through Facebook. You can message me through Instagram. You can also message me, I believe, through TikTok, but you can also email me, which is a good way to get to me and me be able to see it right away. And that is just renaelipsmeyer@gmail.com. So send a shout out, or if you have something to add to this particular podcast, like, did we totally miss the boat with Dodo? Like, did we miss everything? Were we completely off topic? Were we talking about another song? Like, tell us what your thoughts are about what we said, because again, we are not claiming to be right. We're just claiming to have an opinion, right? That's all we're doing. And so we'd love to back that up with some fact, but until someone provides that, we don't have it. So email me, shoot out a message on Instagram, Facebook, blah, 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 all the TikTok, all the stuff. And Karen, thank you again so much for helping me pursue my dreams, talk about the Dave Matthews Band. And then last shout out, if you don't know already, our next topic for next Thursday is going to be a fun one. And I'm thinking about, yes, Karen is going to be part of this conversation because even though we're not married, we are engaged. And so this next podcast which will release on Thursday, is called DMB Forever. ..
Now,
what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean that I'm going to be listening to the Dave Matthews Band forever? Well, maybe, but that's not what it's about. So this is about, what we've got is a panel of fans, and I'm not going to tell you who they are, but those fans are accompanied with their significant other or spouse. And so what we're going to talk about is, like, what does life look like when you marry a fanatic? Like, do you get too much of the Dave Matthews Band in your house? Are you upset that your wife has decorated every wall with some sort of dancer that everyone asks, is she a ballerina? Like, where are you in your marriage when it comes to Dave Matthews Band? So my husband, Justin, will be on. My fiance, Karen, is going to tag in just, to keep it straight and all that. And then we've got a couple of other guests that are coming on with their spouses. And so be sure to stay tuned for that one. We'll do some sneak peeks on social media. So next Thursday, that one will come out. Again, thank you, Karen, for being part of this podcast. And peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.
Peace out.